everybody, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is your editor-in-chief for AMC Movie News, John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you live from right here at the AMC Movie News headquarters here in Burbank, California. Remember, don't hide them, but don't accentuate them.
Also here is writer-director John Schnepp.
I thought we were going to talk about Kylo Ren in the Sith Army, but I agree. Never hide them.
And AMC's Christian Harloff.
I'm so confused right now. Inside joke show.
Inside joke show.
All right, so it was another box office win for the Divergent series as the newest installment, Insurgent, took the top spot, making $54 million in its opening weekend, just slightly down from the $54.6 million Divergent made on its opening weekend 1 year ago. In second place was last week's winner, Cinderella, making $34.5 million, bringing its two-week worldwide total up to $253 million. In the third spot is the Liam Neeson action film, Run All Night, making $5.1 million. The new Sean Penn film, The Gunman, flopped on its opening weekend with just $5 million to take the fourth place. And rounding out the top five, Kingsman: The Secret Service makes another $4.6 million for its sixth weekend in a row in the top five, bringing its worldwide total up to $295 million. Mm-hmm. John, what stands out to you about this week's box office report?
To start with, Insurgent is actually a pleasant surprise. I mean, I honestly didn't think the reviews for Divergent weren't actually all that bad, but they weren't exactly spectacular either. I thought that Insurgent would probably come in at about 40. If you asked me to, I think somebody did ask me about 2 weeks ago, and I was guessing around 40. So 54, 55, 56, that's got to be a number that they're very happy with. Yes, it's not higher than the first one, but the first one was a real pleasant surprise to them. I don't think a lot of people expected it to make that much money on its opening weekend. So that stands out to me, like good for it. The other one, obviously, it's getting repetitive. We have to talk about it all the time. Kingsman still in the top five. 245, whatever million plus, never would. I don't think the most optimistic person at the studio would have ever said, oh yeah, this little movie is going to be, around $250 million worldwide by the time it's all said and done. I don't think they ever would have guessed that. So these things all stand out to me a lot. The Gunman, I knew it was not going to be a hit. I liked the trailers, but I knew they weren't going to do a lot to bring a lot of other people in. But I thought it would crack 10. So yeah, there's not much of other word to use for that other than flop. So those are the ones that stand out to me, Schnepp.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. The Kingsman is just refuses to go away, which is great because that's just positive word of mouth. Everyone at this table who saw the movie was like, go see that movie. And then the people who saw that told their friends and so on and so on. So it's that ripple effect, which it just keeps sticking around. Sometimes it even hops up to fourth place.
Yeah, it's
fourth,
gone
fifth,
up and down,
fourth,
up and down,
fifth,
but always in the top five.
Yeah, and then Detergent, that's a weird one for me because I thought for sure, that after, and I was one of those people who didn't see the first one, then I saw the second one, and I would have never guessed that it would make $54 million, but hey, good for that one, right?
Christian.
The Detergent series, the third one, Bleach. Look, very similar to what you guys were saying. With Insurgent, the good news is that the fan base is sticking around to see it.
Yeah.
The bad news is that no one else will be. Because you take the Hunger Games, which fans of the series obviously saw, and then it brought in a whole bunch of people who hadn't read the books. I think that this series will continue to do that through its 4-picture run. It'll probably open up the next one with 54. Same thing, because the fans want to see how it ends. This movie proves that. It's wanting to continue it. So that's interesting. Like you said, I thought maybe 45, 50, but that looks like the fan base that's watching it. Now, the difference between like The Gunman and Kingsman is that I think if The Gunman would have had the type of, because you had said this a couple weeks ago about, I think there's a fan question that said, do critics, do they influence whether or not people see it?
Right.
And the answer is sometimes yes and sometimes no. I think this would have been the answer of sometimes yes, because what The Kingsman clearly did, everyone raving about it, you go and see it, the word of mouth spreads. I think The Gunman could have, if it was good,
right?
People would have been talking about it, seeing more. So I'm not shocked that it did as bad as it did, because it's not a great movie.
There's no buzz.
There's no buzz on it. So those are the other ones. And yeah, Kingsman being in the top 5 is great. I think it'll probably get knocked out soon, but what a run.
Oh yeah, well, it's got. I got to believe it's going to get knocked out this coming week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be its 7th week in release.
What a run!
So, 290? Is that what you said?
250 or
What, Kingsman?
Yeah, how much is made total?
295.
Wow.
290.
So
Yeah,
it's gonna get 300.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So here's a question. Somebody had asked me on a mailbag recently. It was like, are they for sure moving ahead with the Allegiant Part 1 and Part 2 for the third part? And now it's fourth part because it's splitting the last book into two because that's what you do these days. And I said, well, that's the plan. But as in anything, they're saying they're doing it. But if Divergent or Insurgent or Detergent, whatever it's called now, is an unmitigated flop, it doesn't matter that they've announced the next two. They're not going to do it. They are planning on shooting them back to back and releasing one year after the another. Is this result for Insurgent? If you're the head of the studio, you feel comfortable now pushing the button, hitting the green light for moving ahead on the final two films?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, that it in its opening weekend got kind of what the first one got in its opening weekend means, all right, like you're right, Christian, the fans who loved the first one are returning to the theaters to see the second one. They're going to come back and see the third and fourth one. So
yeah, the fan base is set in stone. So look, would the studio would have loved it to caught that Hunger Games fire? Of course they would have, but it's not going to. But the loyal fans will keep going, and it'll have a nice run on Blu-ray, and all the fans will want to get it too. So if I'm a studio head, yeah, I absolutely like three.
I see what you did there. Hunger Games, Catching Fire. Yeah, very good. Yeah, and I agree with you. Yeah, they're moving ahead, no problem. All right, what's next?
We've officially got the title for the upcoming Mission Impossible film, which will be called Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, along with the first official trailer. In Rogue Nation, Ethan and team take on their most impossible mission yet, eradicating the Syndicate, an international rogue organization as highly skilled as they are committed to destroying the IMF. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation hits AMC theaters on July 31st. Schnepp, what do you think about the first trailer and title to the new Mission Impossible movie?
I absolutely loved it. I mean, I loved the teaser that they dropped this weekend, which was just like pure action. And then I was like, well, I mean, there's a longer, this is just what is this? I didn't even know what I was really watching. It's like a 1 minute thing. This feels like a trailer. And then they released the official trailer.
It turns out that 1 minute thing on the weekend was just the teaser to the full trailer coming out the next day.
Yeah. And it's actually a totally re-edited, completely different trailer. The one that just came out today, this morning. So if you saw the one on the weekend and it's completely different than this one. It's completely different. It uses some of the same footage, but boy, this film looks fantastic from top to bottom. I mean, you got Tom Cruise, who's a great action star. I love him in this role of, I think his name's Ethan in Mission Impossible. Yeah. But, I think all the characters like Ving Rhames, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg, they all return. And the action looks fantastic. It looks very practical to me. Like it looks like real big budget kind of fun action. There's not too much like fakery or CG, at least that's apparent. I'm sure there's a ton of CG because that's what they do now. The more invisible the effects, the better. But yeah, I see this trailer. I cannot wait for July 31st. It looks fantastic. It looks like the rightful heir to Mission Impossible 4, like another really cool action-based film with the anti-IMF. So
yeah, I got to tell you, I liked the 1 minute thing that dropped. I watched it, I think, okay, that's not bad for first trailer. And then when I read further, it's like, oh, this is just an introduction to the full trailer. This isn't like a trailer to a trailer, because usually the trailers to trailers are like 15 seconds. Right. This was like a full minute long. I think it was like 1 minute and 5 seconds long. Then the 2 minute and 41 second version comes out, and I'm with you. I loved it. My one problem is that, wait a minute, once again, the government is trying to shut down the IMF. You see Alec Baldwin, where is Ethan? I wanted to call him Ethan Hawke, but it's not. Hunt, yeah. Where is Alec Baldwin's of where is Ethan Hunt? Yeah. I mean, it's like, wait, we're doing that again? But that aside, I thought it looked great. I was real happy with it. I like the idea setting up. Look, it's kind of like a little bit James Bond with Spectre. Oh, we got the IMF now. It's versus Syndicate. Whatever. I don't care as long as it's fun. But what I then found out later, I love that shot of Tom Cruise hanging onto the side of the plane.
Totally.
Yeah, real. I didn't know that. I read up on that. Tom Cruise strapped himself to the side of one of these big bomber planes, and that's actually a real shot.
You know what?
That is him taking off.
I didn't even want to read about it because I knew it was real, because he's such a whack job. Remember, that was him hanging off the side of Dubai where my stomach's all. So when I saw that, I was like, that nutball. He's awesome. He's got the cojones.
Awesome.
So.
It looks incredible. So I'm excited for it. Like, not the best trailer I've seen this year, but you know what? For the first official trailer, bang up job. What did you think, Christian?
Put it on the board. I loved it. I loved this trailer. And let's make a habit of doing what Paramount just did. and let's do teasers.
Strapping Tom Cruise to the side of
Everything, to everything, to whatever movie's coming out. Lend them to Universal. Let them do it for the Minions movie. Do a whole bunch of stuff.
He's strapped to a satellite right now.
No, but as far as the teaser for the teaser, let's make those the teasers for the teasers. Like Schnepp said, it was different enough, but it was a minute to people start talking about it, and then drop the trailer, because then you're like, whoa, that was that trailer. Now I get to watch what the movie's actually really about, and I was all for it. I actually agree with you with the Bond stuff, but I like that element because he's our American James Bond right now. He really is. So does it have a lot of Bondisms? Absolutely.
Simon Pegg is Q.
Yeah, he is. And even to get the Bond type girl at the end doing the flips, and you see him holding her by the side. What this series is, and what it has become in the last one or two, super fun. And I knew it was him holding that plane, not because I read about it, but because I'm thinking to myself, what's the shot of him doing something that's going to top the Dubai scene?
Yeah.
And there you go.
And he's a weird rock climber. He just does that for fun. He's like, I like to just climb on the edge of rocks and stuff.
But
like,
he also
likes
knows, though, what everyone talks about when they talk about Mission Impossible 4 is the Dubai scene. So now everyone's going to be talking about that plane scene, and you get it in the trailer, you know. But you're just hyped up. And what I thought they did so well was, and this should get rid of all those silly questions about, they had to do reshoots, or we're not seeing, this is a full movie. It's going to be a full movie. It's going to be a summer movie. And I'm so glad it's now in the summer. I'm super excited.
Yeah, we've sometimes forget that this movie was supposed to be a December release.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just, not too long ago, they moved it to July.
Right.
And now we're only 4 months away from this movie coming out, 4.5 months, whatever. And they just dropped the first trailer. I'm really excited about it.
And in regards to the title of the movie, with the
we haven't even talked about that, have we?
The Rogue thing. It's funny because someone had tweeted me and goes, "You think that has anything to do with
Rogue One?"
No.
What?
It doesn't. It doesn't. But it's
why do you? Can you even not respond to tweets like that? Like I can't.
No, but I understand. I understand where it was coming from. Is maybe because the reason that they moved initially was because Star Wars was on the same date. So maybe they think because they moved it, the person speculated that they're moving it and now taking the name of the spinoff before. No, that's not the case. But because if you see the trailer and what the movie's about, I like the trailer, and I like the fact that it's kind of a thing that they do now. They have to try to shut it down all the time, and it's how they're going to do it. It's going to be their last mission together. It won't be, but
it won't be.
But I like I'm cool with the title.
I have to also give a shout out to Macquarie. He directed Jack Reacher with Cruise, and so I mean that's
wrote another one of Jack I think what was it the Bryan Singer film? I think.
Usual Suspects. That was his. He broke in with that.
Yeah.
He also did he write Valkyrie, the other Tom Cruise movie? I think he wrote Valkyrie, if I'm not mistaken.
But I mean, I love the way the film looks and feels. It's the shot selections are great. Like that shot with the two bikes getting crushed by the car. Awesome. I mean, the action.
When he knocks the guy off the side of the road.
Oh, fantastic! It's cool. Really well shot. I mean, just that shot of him like jumping down that little tube of something. I'm like, what's that? You know, really great shot.
Long gone are the John Woo Mission Impossible 2 days.
That's true. Though,
I do miss the flying doves.
I was going to say, I miss those slow motions,
All right,
out of the car.
We've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Sinead's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. And those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Sinead, what do we got?
Last week, we discussed a report from Bloody Disgusting that revealed the newest film in the Ring horror franchise, Rings, would be a prequel. However, Shock Chili Drop is now reporting that story was incorrect, citing that the film's director, Javier Gutierrez, has tweeted out that the new film is indeed a sequel that takes place 13 years after the events from the first film. Christian, buy or sell the new Ring film being a sequel rather than a prequel?
I sell it. I have the same opinion of it when I thought it was a prequel. It just seems like an unnecessary part. I mean, whether it was before the events of 1 and 2 or after the event, it's almost even more of a sell now because I would have preferred to see how it all came about. And I could be wrong. This movie could wind up being just as creepy as the first one, which is super creepy, and had that. And I think Dennis was on the panel last time and I agreed with him in that the good horror films are like the psychological ones that really make you think it, but they have certain imagery. They don't just rely on the jump scares. And the first Ring for me did that. Second one was the opposite of that. So if they can do what the first one did, it's pretty much the same thing I said about the prequel, but if they can do what the first one did and make it more about the characters, the story, and overall creepiness of the first one, then I'll come back and buy it after I see it.
I'm going to give this a buy because I am I don't like prequels. I like stories moving forward, not backwards. I don't need to know how everything came about. Leave some things to mystery and move forward. Look, am I super excited for another installment in the Ring series? Like Christian said, no, not really, but I'm a lot more interested in it knowing that it's going to be a sequel and set a little further in the future. That gets my attention a little bit more for me personally, not for everybody, but for me. So for me, it's going to be a buy.
Yeah, pod racing. I'm going to buy this. Because I would have bought the prequel too, because then they could have had more fun with like VHS tapes and like maybe like floppy disks, or I don't know what they would do. How do you get
Super
the girl to show up in a, she's in a frame of film or whatever. But now it's like it's going to be that unfriended type thing where somebody's like clicking around. It's like, what's this weird thing? Click, 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 and then the girl shows up and comes out of your laptop.
Is a blender in it?
I don't know, but it should have a fat guy with that. That would be amazing. But maybe the girl's going to come out of your phone, like little hair starts. What's that? It's like hair dripping out.
They combine Unfriended and the next one together, and that's who's getting after that kid.
Right.
It's all the same movie. That's the mystery revealed.
I think Rings is a great idea. I say if you never saw, I think it's Scary Movie 2 that like knocks on the ring thing, where they had a fat guy sit in the chair and it spins around and then he throws up. I still visually, when I see that in my brain, I laugh. It's very good because it's done in that creepy, like, shaky style. Go just see the movie.
All right, what's next?
In a recent interview with Empire, director Neil Blomkamp revealed that he recently made a story change to his upcoming Aliens film that Ridley Scott felt was bumping up against Prometheus 2, which is now in development. John, do you buy or sell Blomkamp making changes to his movie to accommodate Prometheus 2?
I sell this all the way around. Number one, I'm after seeing Chappie, my enthusiasm for Neil doing an Aliens film has kind of taken a bit of a dip, but still looking forward to it, but not nearly as excited as I was. But this is the problem you have when you have films in a shared universe, right? Now, Neil has to take his concept that clearly he liked because he was going to make a movie, and he's got to change it because it doesn't fit with what another film is doing. You got to do that sometimes, and who knows? It may work out for the best. It may work out to be a great move. We don't know. All I've got to work on is the information in front of me, and based on the information in front of me, I don't like it, so I'm going to sell it. Christian?
I'll buy it for pretty much the same reasons, because I actually like the idea that we're doing we're following the canon of Aliens, and because hopefully Prometheus, we all know the big questions when Prometheus came out. Was it a prequel? Was it not? We don't know. We think that the second one, Prometheus 2, is gearing up to Alien. So if we get Prometheus 2, Aliens, and then Neil Blomkamp's version where you had to do some tweaks to fit into the whole mythology, yes, I could be excited about that. That could work for me. I'm with you. I'm less excited about Blomkamp doing it since Chappie, but I'm also excited because now he goes away from just his scripts and his movies to try to do something else, because the guy is a very talented director. Visually, he's incredible.
He's got a great eye.
Yes. I want to see what he does with someone else's story, someone else's script. And if he's got to fit, and maybe now he's got to do some more tweaks to where he has to follow the mythology, because, listen, Ridley Scott, the guy who brought this thing to life, wants to tweak it this way, and you have to follow that. I'm okay with it.
I might have agreed with you too had I liked Prometheus, but I did, so that probably casts a wet blanket on it too. Schnupp, what about you?
I'm going to buy it because I did like Prometheus. For all its flaws, I really did enjoy the film. And just seeing that image that was put together where you see the actual original alien with images of the engineer's head and some of the stuff from Prometheus, I could visually see how it'll tie together. And it's kind of exciting to imagine what Blomkamp will do. I think he's an incredibly talented director. I've yet to see Chappie. I know everybody's cracking on it and stuff, but I really, really loved District 9. And I really liked Elysium. So I'm not going to throw in the towel on the dude. And that he came up with the idea on his own. Just look, I want to make an Alien 3 and bring back Michael Biehn and Ripley, which is what all of us want. So that he's such a nerd and a sweaty, I want to do that's why I was like, oh my God, those concept drawings are amazing. I think Fox was maybe we're not sure. But when the internet exploded with yeah, that's awesome, then they signed the deal. You know what I mean? Or maybe they did it earlier. I don't really know how that all went about, but whatever it happened to make it happen, I'm glad. So I'm looking forward to it. And if he has to, move his script around a little bit to adjust for whatever Prometheus 2 or Paradise or whatever it's going to be called, hopefully it all makes sense and merges and brings the Alien franchise back to something that's enjoyable. So,
all right, what's next?
The New York Daily News is reporting that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 will officially go into production in New York next month. Earth to Echo director David Green will take over the directing responsibilities, and according to the report, both Megan Fox, who plays April O'Neil, and William Fichtner, who plays Eric Sachs, will return for the sequel. No word yet if Will Arnett plans to return. Schnepp, do you buy or sell Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2?
Totally buy it, man. You know, I was like one of the only 3 people here. Me and Campia liked the movie. Everybody else was like, it's horrible. I thought it was great. I was like, bring on more of those turtles from the half shell. I thought it was really fantastic and fun. Thought Megan Fox was great. I'll buy it 100%. Make 4 more sequels. I'll watch them.
Yeah, I like Schnepp's saying, we represent 2, probably only 3 people, us and Michael Bay. I liked the first. Look, I was expecting the first one to suck. I was dumping on that movie all the way into it, thinking I don't think this is gonna be good. I think it's gonna be bad. But that's why you check your expectations at the door when you go in, because I thought the movie was actually quite enjoyable. I went back to see it 3 times in theaters. I really did. Do I think it was a great movie? I don't think it was a great movie, but I got some fun out of it. And I think everybody can agree the best part of this film is Megan Fox. No, I take that back. No, she was a hindrance to it. But I really do. Look, you put William Fichtner in anything and I'm on board. I even put him in the worst. What was that Nicolas Cage movie where he's like he had escaped from hell and
Drive Angry.
Drive Angry. I even love Fichtner in that. I had fun with that movie, right? So I like the fact that he's coming back, even though his character was kind of weird. Whatever, that's fine. Look, the first one nearly almost made $200 million domestically alone. The film made $485 million worldwide, which means, hey, somebody liked going to see it, I guess. I mean, we're weirdos, but there are other weirdos out there too that liked it. So
Megan Fox wasn't that bad. Come on. I thought she did great.
She was horrible.
She was awesome.
I thought she was pretty bad.
Megan, you were awesome.
Anyway, Christian.
Strangely enough, I buy it.
Really? I was not expecting that.
No, but do you know why I buy it? It's because of David Green. I'm one of the first people. I think I'm one of the only people here, maybe, I don't know, that liked Earth to Echo.
I liked Earth to Echo,
and I liked it because of what he brought to it. And I actually was able to talk to him about that movie. This dude's a fan. He's a fanboy. He's like he took those inspirations from like E.T. and Goonies, and you could see that in that movie. So to have him doing this property gives me more. I'm more optimistic. I hope that he's not bullied around by Michael Bay and he's allowed to do what he wants to do with it. I hope they use the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles more like they did that elevator scene, because in the elevator scene, that's the movie I wanted to see for the whole time. The cheesy jokes and Megan Fox hiding behind desks for an hour and a half, I could do without. And the dialogue, I know that it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and it's a light, fun, campy movie. You're going to have cheesy dialogue, but give the turtles more to do. That's what I want to see. I'm sick of this Transformers mentality of the robots come in every once in a while, the turtles come in once in a while. Let it be about the turtles for the whole movie and let Megan Fox come in and go, and then run away. That's all I need.
And more Master Splinter. I really like Splinter too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You might be saying the same thing. Maybe I'm just not understanding you right. But like that elevator scene when they start doing the music, I really actually enjoyed that scene. But I think the reason I enjoyed it was because it was different from what we saw the turtles. See, I don't want just cowabunga dude, let's see some pizza 20 like throughout the whole movie. And I think because they didn't do that through a lot of the movie, that when they did do it in the elevator, it hit me really enjoyable.
Yeah, it was fresh.
Yes, I do. But it wasn't just that. It wasn't just the fact that we were doing cowabunga and all that. It was that camaraderie. It was that relationship.
Yes,
I saw more of that in the elevator. I was like, that's what I wanted to see. Those guys interacting the whole entire time like that. Not necessarily just doing the eating pizza and cowabungas and all that. But I wanted to see that brotherly relationship throughout the entire movie. But they focus on that.
Even they had that even on when they were like, sliding down that ice mountain scene.
I love it. Oh no, the ice mountain scene. I think
it was their ish. It was their
camaraderie and brotherhood was there.
But it needs to be there more. And I think David Green will bring that. And I think with Bebop and Rocksteady and all of that, they're bringing, you're gonna have a lot more fun with the second one.
That's gonna be crazy to see how they do those guys. All right, what's next?
In a recent interview, Wonder Woman actress Gal Gadot was asked about Wonder Woman's powers in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman. Gadot said the following: "She has unbelievable endurance. She is exceptionally strong. She can jump really high and practically fly. She knows tons of martial arts styles. She is a strong and serious woman." Christian, buy or sell that Wonder Woman does not have the power to fly in the new movie?
I buy it. I don't care. Superman flies. I mean, now I know some people are going to be mad at the fact that she can't fly, and I understand that as well too. Maybe she will eventually, or maybe she can fly and they just don't do it in this one. I don't know, but I'm not going to be that upset about it. What I'm going to worry about first and foremost in Man of Steel is how they take all of these characters in one movie, even though they might be in a limited fashion, and how they don't make it like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, that there's too many characters. I want to see them, because the other day you guys were talking about Zack Snyder, whether or not he was going to be in charge of the universe, right?
Right.
People forget that he is in charge right now, because he is the one in his movie who is introducing you to all of these characters.
Right.
So he's the one that gets to bring it to you. So essentially he's in charge of it for now. So if it's his choice and the writer's choice to make her not fly ever, that's going to continue into the rest of these directors' visions. But right now, it doesn't bother me. I don't know what you guys think.
I buy it. I am not bothered at all, actually, by the notion that Wonder Woman lacks the ability to fly. It's certainly not as much as I'm bothered by the fact that Wonder Woman lacks the ability to act. That to me is the bigger question mark. And I'm just poking at it. I'm cheering for Gal Gadot. I want her to do awesome because I want this movie to be awesome. But no, I really do buy this. I remember, I used to read a lot of Wonder Woman, and then I stopped for a whole bunch of years. And then when I started seeing more of Wonder Woman, it's like, when did she start flying? I always thought that was stupid. I'll be honest, I have never liked the fact that Wonder Woman can fly. I just felt like one day, and I understand there's probably a story in the graphic novels. I'm not a diehard, thoroughly knowledged on Wonder Woman, because there was a big gap of years that I didn't read it. But I remember feeling like, yeah, let's make her fly too. Okay. And it was like, it never made sense because she never used to fly. So I actually kind of like the fact that she can't fly. So that is a little plot twist. Big thumbs up for me. I like that move.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it too. Remember, guys, she has an invisible jet. She doesn't need to fly because she's just sitting and flying in her invisible jet.
Do you think they'll use an invisible jet?
No, I don't think they will.
But you know how cool they could make it if they did it though? Like if almost like a stealth type thing.
If it was a cloaking thing and everything was cloaked, sure. But I doubt they're going to use it. And the only thing I don't want to hear is the like, you know, when she's jumping. Like, as long as they don't have a sound effect with her jumping.
What about spinning and changing costumes?
I would totally be into that.
If they actually, you know what, as stupid as it sounds, if they found a cool way to do that.
You know, they could, but the jumping sound effect would be weird. So, but yeah, I think, you know, everything that she said in that article is great. You know, she acted against Ben Affleck and that's why she got the role. I think, you know, that she's into strong female characters and that's what Wonder Woman represents to her. I think it's great. And hopefully she's a role model. You know, that's what I see Wonder Woman as. So.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address in the show, just email us anytime to the email address amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Maybe you'll see your question pop up in Movie Talk or maybe on one of our weekend Mailbag shows. So send in your questions. Sinead, what do we have in there today?
Al writes, I recently have been watching 60s films, and many of them have very non-natural acting, a la The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. If actors today gave those performances, do you think that they would be seen as cheesy? What are your thoughts?
Liberty Valance. My dad used to listen to that song all the time. Look, if you take a lot of those films from that era and put them in today, would they come across as cheesy? Yeah, they totally would. But you have to take into account the era and the context in which those films are made. Remember, in the 50s and 60s, they weren't all that far removed from sound coming to the movie pictures, right?
Remember, movies are, you know, even the word movies. Oh, it's moving images. You know, they called them talkies for a while. It's like, you know, you got to put that in perspective.
I think we should start referring to them as talkies again.
That's true.
But see that latest talkie?
Man, we're talking weird now. Like we're in the 30s, right, guys? Come on.
Remember, their big template for acting at the time, we've mentioned this before, their big template for acting at the time was stage. And in stage, you have to exaggerate and accentuate everything because you're alone on a stage projecting to an entire audience. So you just don't say, I think I'm going to run out and grab lunch today. You go, I think it's time for lunch. I'm going it's the stage, right? And so we've seen over a progression of the decades that they've moved away from stage performance into a new style of acting for screen, which is different. But at the time, they weren't that far removed from it. So does it come across today as cheesy? Sure. But you got to remember when you're looking at them and evaluating, put yourself in that era context, and it comes across a lot different. Because if you watch them now and think about a stage play, watch those 50s and 60s movies, think of it as a stage play, and you'll totally see it a lot more natural. Any question, what do you think?
I think you nailed it. And I think when you get to the progression of any business, like things change, times change, and the way that you approach certain things change. And when you're watching a movie like that in the 60s, I mean, even if you watch a movie like that in the 80s, when you watch a movie in the 80s, like The Last Dragon, right? When you watch that at the time with the 80s, the beatbox and all that stuff, when you're watching that in 1986 or 87, you're like, oh yeah, that's super cool. Then you watch it now and you're like, who would wear, that guy is 200 pounds. Why are you wearing a half shirt? You know, and like when you watch it, it's just everything changes over time. but it's the theater element that I think you're most right on, because between the 60s and when Brando kind of came into acting in the 50s, that's a stage actor, and things just changed. Method. But it was that transformation of the film and theater, the blend, and there's film acting now, there's theater acting, and it's not as intertwined as it was back then.
You know what's great is there's so many methods to acting now. I love when you have, this person, I could see what kind of acting method they're going with, or this person is just like plucking from realism, or this person has a staged presence. So when you have different actors all in the same scene, yet they're great actors, you get that fantastic dynamism. We had talked about this once before. Like, I like to compare acting through decades and even genres to art. To, like, you know, when we had the Renaissance, it was just like, hey, artists were just kind of painting, portraits and things like that. And then we moved in and moved on through all the different periods, and, you know, pop culture and just, you know, pop art. Now we're in like this, for film, it's only been around for a little over 100 years compared to all these other forms of art, which are thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So it's easier to see or call out changes because everything's happened so quickly with film. So, I mean, I think you're always going to see different new ways of acting, and, you know, we haven't even cracked the surface of what can be done in film. So.
Well, the moral of the story is go watch The Last Dragon.
That's really what we're trying to say. That's the whole point of this.
Dragon, yeah.
All right, folks. Hey, listen, you know, we don't only like to take your questions via email. Once again, email us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. But if you're on Twitter, we like to take your questions via Twitter as well. So if you got a question, you want to see your tweet on our show, tweet a question to us on Twitter, and just make sure to include the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. So include that hashtag, and maybe you'll see your Twitter on here. So Sinead, what we got picked out?
At Honest Habe tweets, Wayne's World or Bill and Ted.
Oh, I like both of these films very much. So this is going to just be a personal preference thing. No disrespect to the other one. Wayne's World for me. There's something so great about Wayne's World. I could watch that movie probably a little bit even more than Bill and Ted. Love Bill and Ted, but for me, it's Wayne's World. Christian?
I love them both. I would go Bill and Ted, because they have the George Carlin edge.
Yeah.
They got the George Carlin edge, man. And when you put Rufus in there, excuse me, my favorite quote, I can't even say on the air, but I love that movie, and I love Wayne's World, but that's a great question. Good Sophie's choice.
Yeah, Schnepp.
I'm going to have to go with Wayne's World because Wayne's World 1 and 2 were equally enjoyable, and Bill and Ted number 2 did not do it for me, like Death's Journey or whatever it was. I can't even remember what it was called. Yes, George Carlin almost edges it. It puts it right at a plateau, but I have to go with Wayne's World.
But what would you rather see a third one for?
I want to see Wayne's World and Bill and Ted together in some kind of dynamic crossover.
You could make it work.
Mash that up. Mix it up.
If you had Freddy versus Jason, you can do Bill and
This just
Ted.
in, Disney bought both franchises. It's going to happen.
All right, what's next?
Nate tweets, just wanted you guys to know I am binge watching the 32 movies in your March Madness tourney this week.
That is so, what was that, Nate?
Nate.
That is so awesome to hear, because honestly, we say this every time we talk about the tournament, which is going on right now. By the way, we did the first round. We did the first video for it, the first round matchups and all the seeding. You can find them in our AMC YouTube channel. Just look up for Animation Movie Madness and watch the first video and the link for where you can go to vote. We're going to announce the results of round 1 and introduce the matchups for round 2 on Friday. So keep your eyes open for that. But it's so exciting to see that in a tweet, because Nate, that's part of the reason we like doing these tournaments, is not just to pick the best, but also to introduce people to a bunch of movies maybe they haven't seen. And I love how many emails and tweets and messages on YouTube we've been getting from people saying, hey, I've never seen this. I've never seen, Princess Mononoke. I've never seen, somebody told me the other day, I've never seen Aladdin. A friend of mine last night said, you know what? I've never seen Aladdin. I'm like, what?
Wow.
And I love that. And I love that people are actually now grown out, grabbing these movies and checking them out for the first time. Love it. I think that's awesome. Are either of you guys going to be helping out on Friday? I can't remember.
I was supposed to, but I don't think I'll be able to. I think next week.
I'm not going to be here on Friday.
All right. Anyway, what's next? I can't remember.
Kristen Offrio tweets, with rumored plot points being introduced into the Ant-Man reshoots, do you think Marvel regrets not backing Edgar Wright?
No. They don't regret it. It was the right decision to move away from the Edgar Wright script for the thing. We heard James Gunn talk about it. We've heard people in the cast talk about it. Everybody loved Edgar Wright's treatment of it, but it just came down to it that it took so long to get around around to doing it that the Marvel Cinematic Universe took on a different personality, that Edgar Wright's Ant-Man just didn't fit in. This whole notion about reshoots and everything, remember, this is now standard procedure for all Marvel films. They always shoot, they finish shooting, and then they book it well in advance that, hey, you know what, about 4 months after shooting, we're probably going to need to reshoots. Let's schedule those, go in for pickups, fix what we didn't want, what we didn't like. There's a rumor going around that they're doing reshoots to reintroduce the idea that Lang, played by Paul Rudd, is a criminal again, because they're saying they took that out of the movie originally. I don't believe that, actually, because when I look at the first trailer, it clearly looks like Lang is on the wrong path.
He's coming out of prison.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think this whole story going around that they're reintroducing him as a villain, that he was a crook or something. No, I think that was there the whole time. Anyway, how do you guys see it?
I would say, I mean, that happens all the time with not just Marvel films, but most big films in general. It's called plussing scenes. Like, hey, we had this scene, we want to make it better, or we want to add this element when they walked out of the building. We want to have that extra scene, or we just came up with this whole new set piece that blows the other one that we shot. It makes the film 1,000 times better. That's why they do it. That's why they throw another $8 million, $10 million into these reshoots. Yeah, sure, it's only 2 weeks, but they can. The thing is, all the thought process has already been done. That's the greatest process. When you're making something, the hardest part of making anything is thinking it through. Executing it is the easiest part. It's the thought process. So once you have a rough cut or even a very fine cut, adding certain scenes is really easy, and it makes it easy to schedule. You get that person come in that one day of filming can make or break a film. So I'm all for
Christian?
it.
Well, let's start off with the whole Edgar Wright thing. He's a great director.
We love him. We all do.
He's awesome. But the notion that they're rethinking Peyton Reed is silly, because Peyton Reed, if a lot of people don't know this, was up against James Gunn to direct Guardians of the Galaxy. He's been in their roster for a long time. Kevin Feige loves the dude. He knows his stuff. He knows Ant-Man. So the other thing to know, we were just talking about Mission Impossible. They had reshoots. That trailer looks great. Movie that looks like it's going to be supposed to be one of the best of the summer. Now, the other thing I always think with Marvel is they're constantly writing new treatments and new scripts for new movies they have that fits into this universe. Not to say this is the case, but we don't know if they're shooting a post-credit scene that they can probably edit quick to put at the end of the Avengers, maybe. Or maybe they have some stuff that they're going to do that they want to make sure that it fits into Civil War somehow, so they have that on the shelf. It's just, not that those are likely, but those are always in the are always in the realm of possibility because of this cinematic universe. So I wouldn't get panicked that they're thinking, oh man, I wish we had Edgar Wright at this point. They're not. Yeah,
no, like there are examples out there, of course, and there are films like World War Z, right? Where they went back and they just thought the movie that was coming together was garbage, and they decided to go back and reshoot like 50 to 60 to 70% of the movie. There are those situations that you have to be, worried about a little bit, but just they did reshoots. No. A lot of times that's just standard operating procedure. Don't worry about it. All right, folks. Well, that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I want to thank, first of all, the guy sitting to my left, host of AMC Heroes, which airs tomorrow, and AMC Rewind, which airs on Friday, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
Hey, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. Don't forget The Death of Superman Lives. What Happened comes out May 1st. Lots of sweaty news coming up about that later this week.
And of course, sitting over here on my right, he is the host of AMC Jedi Council, Mr. Christian Harloff, airing on Thursdays. Christian, where can people find you online?
Well, Twitter and Instagram at Christian Harloff, but we are taking questions for AMC Jedi Council now. So if you want your question on the air, make sure you hashtag it AMC Jedi Council and ask away.
Oh, I forgot to say, I'm the sweaty question of the week for AMC Heroes. Tweet it now, hashtag AMC Heroes right now, and I'll be picking it today.
And of course, our lovely host today, Sinead DeFries. Sinead, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Sinead DeFries and at thatsosinead.com.
And you can follow her on hashtag Sinead Does Plumbing. Apparently,
she's really good.
She's really good at plumbing. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, bye-bye.